Why did God make us Edomites?
I hate my life.
This is our kingdom, a kingdom of righteousness. Praise the Lord. Praise ye the Lord.
Why did God make us Edomites? God hates us.
The only deliverance the other nations are going to get is deliverance right into slavery. They're going to be our slaves, thus saith the Lord.
Why did God make us Edomites? God hates us. Why? God, why?
Jeremiah 30:16 tells you every last one of the other nations, which are the non-Israelites, are going into captivity. They're going into slavery underneath the Israelites when the Israelites go back into rulership. When is the Israelites going to go back into rulership? When the Lord comes. That's what he's coming to do. He's coming to set up the Israelites in rulership, beginning with King David. And when I say rulership, meaning the planet Earth, we're going to be ruling the planet Earth in righteousness. After he puts down the wicked. Who's the wicked? The Edomites, which are in power right now. Who are the Edomites? The so-called white man.
Why did God make us Edomites? God hates us. Why? God, why?
Praise the Lord, for he is greatly to be feared. He removed the wicked and put us righteous in power.
To victory and the dawn of a new era.
And when I say rulership, meaning the planet Earth, we're going to be ruling the planet Earth in righteousness. After he puts down the wicked. Who's the wicked? The Edomites, which are in power right now. Who are the Edomites? The so-called white man.
This is our kingdom, a kingdom of righteousness. Praise the Lord Yahweh. Praise ye the Lord.
Beginning with those top banking families, which happen to be so-called white people. We're talking about the Rothschilds, Rockefellers. We're talking about the DuPonts. We're talking about the Gettys, the Oppenheimers, and families like that. Okay, so when Yahushua comes back, he's going to take away their rulership, which they're enjoying right now. That's the long and short of it, of this ministry, man.
Pace, James. I need 200 pounds by sunset.
Yes, sir. I'm on it, master.
Why did God make us Edomites?
I hate my life.
Why did God make us Edomites?
I hate my life.
Praise the Lord, for he is greatly to be feared. He removed the wicked and put us righteous in power.
All right. Shalom. First and foremost, I would like to give all praise and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakakadash, and double honors unto the apostles and the elders of GMS who rule well, teach well, being great examples towards younger brothers. And peace and blessing and salutation to the hopeful elect out there pushing his word and truth and in sincerity across the four winds in the name of Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, pushing to get up out of here. Shalom to the hopeful elect, the believers, the listeners whom have came back to the obedience of the scriptures through faith in Yahweh Bashim Al Shai. All right, and what I want to get into today, morning news and prophecy, going into an uptick, all right, in violence, all right, in the Egyptian versus the Egyptian, and what we're seeing now, is an uptick, okay, in gun violence, especially, mass shooting, and this lets you know that we're in a time before great judgment because the scriptures, speak about these things. So let's go here. Let's get the book of 2 Timothy chapter 3, and then we'll go into the book of Genesis. Okay, but there's no doubt, that the atmosphere, okay, of the earth is set for civil unrest, all right, civil war, okay, and let's go. As the scriptures say, in the last days it should be what? Let's read it. All right, it says the 2 Timothy 3:1. This know also that in the last days perilous times shall come. So let's go into the word perilous. Okay. All right, so you get this word perilous in the Greek.
Strong's G 5467. Chalepas. Chalepas.
All right, halapas, which means hard to take, to approach, hard to bear, troublesome, dangerous, harsh, fierce, savage. Okay. So Apostle Paul was prophesying the atmosphere of these last days, before, great judgment, before the return of Yahweh, it will be perilous times. Okay, troublesome, dangerous, harsh, fierce, savage. Okay, and as we look throughout the earth, all right, through what's happening in real time, we're going to see that these things are on the increase, man. Okay, things are becoming way more troublesome, harsh, dangerous, people on edge. Okay, anybody can have a gun, a firearm. Okay, now they're able to make, what Jay was talking about, the switches, where they're able to make these handguns into automatic weapons. Okay, extended clips, and so now the atmosphere and all the ingredients needed, for society to become extremely dangerous, extremely fierce, all right, extremely savage, where everything is in place. Okay, so going back here, all right. Let's read this again. 2 Timothy 3:1 said, this know also that in the last days perilous times shall come. And they're here. And we're going to see these things increase, man. And just, before the flood, showing you that we're in the pre-flood, okay, era. All right. So this is the book of Genesis. So this time, the judgment gonna be through fire, and mainly here in America. Okay, which is the forefront of wickedness in the earth. This is Genesis 6:5. It says, and the Most High saw that the wickedness of man was great in the earth, and that every imagination of the thoughts of his heart was only evil continually, man. Okay, and you have to link that to mainly what these Western nations. Okay, or these nations, were heavily influenced by Esau, Edom. Okay, which is at the forefront of the influence in the earth, which they've influenced the rest of the heathen. Okay, but the source of wickedness in this spirit of rebellion and evil continually is over here in the West, man, mainly in America. Okay, there's always thoughts of there's always someone plotting, a murder, great robbery, adultery, alphabet, all these things are this is what's continually on people's mind. Scamming, this is what continually is on the mind of the masses over here in the West, man. Okay. And when you jump down to verse um 11, it says the earth also was corrupt before the Most High, and the earth was filled with violence. And the Most High looked upon the earth, and behold, it was corrupt, for all flesh had corrupted his way upon the earth, man. And in this day's times, everyone outside the elect, okay, is corrupted, man, by what? This beast system. So whether you're a serial killer or you're just an alphabet, or whether you're just this, adulterer, adulteress, okay, whether you're just, all into these false religions, and, witchcraft is on the uptick. So you look at these people, all right, and it's just a major corrupt society, man. And this is what breeds violence. Okay, when you have a society that's full of corruption and moral decay and rot, okay, it's a breeding ground for violence, man. Okay, now when you go here, All right, because what did Yahweh Shai say? What did he liken? Okay, his second coming to what would be the atmosphere? Because as we understand, there was violence. Okay, leading up to the flood. All right, but also, um, let me see. Verse 26, Luke 17 and 26, it says, and as it was in the days of Noah, so shall it be also in the days of the Son of Man. They did eat, they drank, they married wives, they was given in marriage until the day that Noah entered into the ark and the flood came and destroyed them all. Okay? So people would be going on about their day-to-days in this corrupt, because see, that's the normal now. Violence is normal. Okay, mass shootings is like a shoulder shrug now. That's a daily occurrence. Okay, people getting shot up anywhere, everywhere. That's become the normal, and people just go about their day to day. Okay, so the atmosphere for judgment, okay, is in the earth, man, because this was the atmosphere before the flood. So that same atmosphere before Yahweh Shai return, which with the return of Yahweh Shai is synonymous with what? The nuclear destruction of America, man. All right, this third world war. It says, likewise also as it was in the days of Lot. They did eat, they drank, they brought, they sold, they planted, they builded. But the same day Lot went out of Sodom, it rained fire and brimstone from heaven and destroyed them all. Okay, and this is the buildup. We're living in the buildup to that. Okay, we're living in the buildup to the massive judgment that the Lord has for this age, for this society, man. And the focal point is here in America. Okay, so you go into, all right, what's happening. Let's go from there. I got a few clips, man, and it's just been the last like week and a half of things that's been going on. All right, so let's go here. Okay, to let's go here. Now this happened down here in Leland, Mississippi, which is like an hour and 30 hour 40 minutes from where we hold camp in Jackson. You know, up there in the Delta. All right, and you had this happen this weekend. So let's play this.
A mass shooting leaves 6 people dead in Leland after homecoming festivities. Several others are injured. 12 News reporter Mercy Rains has more from the scene where the investigation is still unfolding.
I'm here in downtown Leland where tragedy struck overnight. What started as a night of celebration ended in chaos. A mass shooting left 6 people dead and several critically injured. I spoke with city officials and eyewitnesses about what they know so far.
On last night, we had a great loss, and we also found out that we have 16 people that were gunned down on last night, which 12 of them were taken to the hospital and 4 of them were dead.
4 people died at the scene in downtown Leland, not far from Main Street. 2 other victims died Saturday morning at separate hospitals. The shooting happened just after the city's homecoming celebrations ended. While the events were separate, the violence has rocked the entire community.
Proceeded to go outside. There were bodies. There were people standing around. There was blood coming from people's rears and back, side, arm, head. And when you get out, it was like Beirut. It was the most horrific scene I've ever seen.
Some attendees say security throughout the night felt inconsistent, raising concerns about event safety.
Even when we left out of tailgate and I went to go put something in my car and come back, we didn't have to go back through the metal detectors. Then one guy was like, yeah, they need to go back. So that was a red flag for me too.
At this time, no suspect has been identified, and this is still an ongoing investigation. Police are urging anyone with information to come forward. Reporting in Leland, Mercy Rain, 12 News.
No offense.
So you had that event. Now, I want to go to the same. It's going to talk about the same incident in Leland, but then it's going to talk about other shootings that took place, you know, at high school games that same night, that same weekend. Okay. So let's get this one.
Chaos as deadly violence unfolded in tiny Leland, Mississippi.
We got to do better. Leland homecoming, man.
Authorities say 6 were killed after a shooting on Main Street following the town's homecoming football game Friday night.
People who were enjoying themselves last night found themselves faced with violence that no community should be faced with.
The victims ranging in age from 18 to 41. Across the state, another deadly shooting.
We have a medical call at Heidelberg High School. It's going to be multiple people shot.
This one at a high school football game in the small town of Heidelberg, where officials say 2 people died. Mississippi's governor says one of the victims was pregnant. Police today arresting an 18-year-old suspect. And in Rolling Fork, Mississippi, a 3rd shooting outside of a local football game there last night. Authorities there arresting 2 individuals. While back in Leland, the search for the gunman continues, city leaders asking for help.
This is not a time to keep your mouth closed. It's a time you open your mouth. You can save a lot of lives if you open your mouth and tell us what you have seen.
The mayor working to heal a community in pain and on edge.
Please pray for Leland, Mississippi. Pray for your city, and let's pray for this country.
Jay Gray joins me now from Leland. And Jay, what do we know about the investigation tonight and the other victims there?
Yeah, and Savannah, let's start with that investigation. Within the last hour, we've seen crews up and inspecting what is the town's only surveillance camera here. It was trained directly where this happened, so it could provide some necessary video for this investigation as it continues. As for the other victims, we know at least 10 others were transported from this scene to area hospitals.
We thank you for watching, and remember...
Yeah, man, so you had 3 shootings at a high school game in the one weekend. You know, which that's about 8 victims. I think 8 people were confirmed dead. You know, over 20 in all were hit. You see, so you can't even go to a high school football game. And all these schools, you know, Rolling Fork, Leland, all right, Heidelberg, all these are Jake, all right, predominantly Jake high schools. I'm talking about like 90+%, you know, Jake. Okay. So this another thing too. Here it is, Jake, you know, complaining about, you know, ICE and, you know, what they do in Chicago and, you know, Esau coming to these Jake neighborhoods. Well, look at you niggas, man. The only thing, all right, that these troops that's coming to these Jake cities can do is to expedite what you niggas already do to each other anyway. All right. And ultimately, it's the Lord that's sending that troop on you niggas, man. All right. Because Jake is extremely violent towards one another, man. Okay, just shooting up crowds now. Okay, this is the norm, and and let's say we got some more. All right, there's a few I got, man. We're just gonna keep going through it, you know. So let's go from there. Now you had South Carolina State, which is a HBCU. Okay, let's go here. So you had South Carolina State. This is last week. Now this was their homecoming. Okay, so you go to South Carolina State University. Okay.
Oh, good evening, and thanks for joining us for Watch Fox News at 10. I'm Kiana Jordan. We begin tonight with continued coverage. SLED is taking over the investigation into 2 shootings on the SC State campus that left 1 woman dead, put a man in critical condition, and injured another person trying to get away. Now, students, lawmakers, and alumnus saying they were shocked at what happened on what was homecoming weekend. What started off as a day filled with fellowship at the 2025 South Carolina State's homecoming ended in tragedy Saturday night.
And everybody was grilling, eating their food. It's homecoming, and then shooting happened.
Authorities say 2 shootings happened on campus Saturday night. Police say the first shooting happened at Hugh Guinea Suites, where a woman was killed, and a second shooting injuring a man who was still hospitalized Sunday. The Orangeburg County coroner identifying the woman killed as 19-year-old Jalea Butler. Sunday, the campus remaining on lockdown.
I called one of my friends, and she was like, don't come over here. They started shooting. Somebody probably got hit. So it was just the fear of being hit and not being able to live again.
SLED is charging 18-year-old Matthew McCoy in the shooting. According to a report from SLED, McCoy pointed a gun at another man and shot 2 times after watching an argument between 2 groups of people. University President Alexander Conyers says the 2 victims and the suspect were not students.
We expect the maximum punishment for anyone that comes onto this campus with the intent to harm one of our students. Make no mistake about that.
Officials say the university has more than 200 security guards and police that work special campus events, including State Highway Patrol, SLED, local police officers and sheriff's deputies, and several federal agencies. They've created a new police command center right next to the largest on-campus student residence and athletic zone. For homecoming, there were drones and helicopter surveillance and more than 300 monitored cameras.
I felt very safe on campus while I was there. So for something like this to happen threw me off. And so I think rather than manpower, we've got to have plans. One of the things that we're talking about in our higher ed subcommittee is making sure that all of our college campuses have active shooter drills, plans, and training. Not
Another victim was injured in the first shooting at Hugueny Suites trying to escape. Their condition is unknown at this time. And other state lawmakers, including Representative Jermaine Johnson, voicing their condolences on social media. Now, classes are canceled Monday and counseling will be available to all students. Officials say tomorrow they will host a town hall for students to voice their concerns. And Congressman James Clyburn released a statement.
So yeah, man, that was last week. All right, at HBCU, our historical black college, all right, university, man. Okay, so you see what Jake is on, man. Okay, here it is. Esau Edom is at war with niggas, boots on the ground, and niggas is still shooting each other up. Okay, that's why the scriptures say, pray not for these people, man. Okay, or don't be curious what happened to these niggas, man. Look what Jake is on. Okay, and now could Esau be in the mix, doing particular things? Absolutely. Okay, but niggas fall right, they play right into the trap every time. Now, let's go here. Still got some more, man. I say just been these last few days, so let's get this one here. All right, now this is, let me see. All right, now this is on the field. You know why the game happening? Look what Jake is on. Okay, while the game is happening. Okay, let's play this. Yeah, so that was in Portsmouth, which Portsmouth, I don't know what state that's in, but that was like 3 days ago, so during the game, and you could hear the bullets whistling past the camera, But this is what Jake is on, man. These last 2 weeks, man, Jake has been going mayhem on each other, man. Okay, just extremely violent. All right. And dude, see his emphasis, and see this plays right into, the narrative of who? Okay, Esau Edom. You see, this is nothing but footage where Esau can push his scientific racism. Well, this is why we're doing what we're doing, because they're just a naturally, violent people. Okay, now let's go here. Now this is at a bar. All right, in South Carolina. Okay, this is a bar. Now let's you have at least 4 killed, 20 hurt. Okay, So that's 24 people being shot in one incident, man. And these things are going to continue to uptick, man. You see? All right, so let's play this, man.
Our nation's epidemic of gun violence continued overnight with yet another mass shooting. That's 4 in 4 days. This time it happened at a bar in South Carolina where at least 4 people were killed, 20 others injured. It happened at Willie's Bar and Grill. When deputies arrived on scene, there was a large crowd gathered at the bar. Several people were suffering from gunshot wounds. 4 people were pronounced dead at the scene. Of the 20 taken to the hospital, 4 remain in critical condition.
No, I'm thankful for everybody who walked away. You know, I'm thankful for everybody who's alive, who is safe. And you know, we just gotta come together and support our.
Nigga, everybody that walked away. Nigga, look at the size of this bar. It couldn't have been no more than 35 people in here. Nigga, who walked away? You know, he said he thankful for the people that walked away, nigga. Goddamn. You see? But nigga establishments, man. Okay?
Support each other at this time. I mean, it's kind of what makes or breaks community. You know, it's something that it's happened. It's horrible, but we got to find a way to make good of it.
No arrests have been made. The sheriff's office said they are investigating a person of interest. In the 4 mass shootings in the U.S. since Thursday, 12 people have been killed, 37 injured, according to the Gun Violence Archive.
We have got. Yeah, man. So, you know, it's an uptick, man. You see? And anywhere where there's a pack of niggas, man, all right, the chances of death, all right, increase drastically. Okay? So let's go here to the book of Hosea. All right, chapter 4 and verse 1. It says, "Hear the word of the Lord, ye children of Israel, for the Lord have a controversy with the inhabitants of the land, because there is no truth, no mercy, nor knowledge of the Most High in the land. By swearing and lying and killing and stealing and committing adultery, they break out, and blood touches blood." Man, this is the culture of Jake. Okay? You see, and this is what people, you know, are trying to protect. You know, like somebody's just doing niggas so wrong. Nobody does Jake worse than Jake, man. Okay? And the Lord just reaching to the point, he just finna send the troop on niggas, man. Okay? And go ahead and wrap this shit up. Because this is niggas' culture, man, because they have no, you know, knowledge of the Lord. Okay? HBCU and, you know, homecoming and all these different things. There's no true knowledge of Yahweh Bashim Al-Shai. There's no standard amongst our people. Okay? So it's just a bunch of lying, killing, stealing, adultery, and death. Okay? And it's just becoming more and more violent. You see? Let's get this, you know, and this all goes into our people, you know, because they're laden with idolatry, man. Okay? Let's go here to let's get this in the book of Wisdom of Solomon. All right, chapter 14. You know, and as our people, all right, have been enchanted and pushed further and further away from Yahweh Bashim Al-Shai, they become more violent, more degenerate, okay, more chaotic, you know, and this is the way of the heathen, man. Okay. But it stems from idolatry. Okay. So let's go to Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 14, and then we'll segue. All right, this Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 14, okay, and verse 22. It said, "Moreover, this was not enough for them, that they erred not in the knowledge of the Most High." Okay, because true knowledge, you know, of the Most High, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, his son Yahweh Shai, well, there's not a thing amongst our people. Okay, Jake glorifies what nigga shit. Okay, that's what Jake is on. All right, that Cardi B, NBA young boy, everybody trying to be, this rapper. Every woman wants to be this bad bitch, and it's just a bunch of foolishness, man. Okay, but true knowledge, true righteousness, true structure doesn't exist amongst our people, man. And this are the results of that. Okay, said that they erred in the knowledge of the Most High, but whereas they lived in a great war of ignorance. Okay, it's a great war of ignorance, man. You see, and it spills over into what? Violence, into actual death. Okay, Jake doesn't have any reverence for life anymore. So now they just shooting crowds up. Okay, they're shooting everything, everybody. They don't give a damn what's what. Every goddamn body. All right, said those so great plagues call they peace, for whilst they slew their children in sacrifices or used secret ceremonies and made revelings, okay, of strange rites, they kept neither lives nor marriages any longer undefiled, but either one slew another treacherously, all right, and grieved him by adultery. So there reigned in all men without exception blood, manslaughter, theft, dissimulation, corruption, unfaithfulness, tumults, perjury. Okay, but here, cause see, no one is gonna tell on the niggas that did all this shooting. Okay, see, that's the only code niggas stick to is no snitching. That's why these niggas do all this shooting, cause none of the community ain't gonna say shit. You see, here it is. These niggas shoot up every goddamn thing, everybody, and nobody say nothing about this nigga. Okay, something happened to this nigga. They're gonna do a balloon release, and these the niggas that do all this shooting. These are niggas that they say don't do nothing to nobody. Okay. Going into perjury, lying about, crimes that you witnessed, man. Okay, lying to officials and judges about crimes that you witnessed, man. That's a culture amongst our people to protect the most worst people, all right. And this is what happens to them, all right, because you protect these niggas. Because these niggas that's doing this shoot, this ain't their first, second. Nah, this is what these niggas do. All right, the community ain't gonna say nothing. Okay, these niggas shoot up everything and then walk around the neighborhood like it's nothing. Okay, still can go lay up over here, lay up over there, lay up over here. Weekend come, go shoot some more shit up. Okay, so you niggas deserve everything that come to you, man, because your dumb ass culture. All right, will you aid and assist these niggas, man? That shoot you, that you aid and assist niggas that. Here it is, you protecting these niggas that can shoot you up at any day. Crazy work, man. It said disquieting of good men, okay, forgetfulness of good terms, defiling of souls, changing of kind, all right, alphabet, disorder in marriages, adultery, and shameless uncleanness, man. Our people aren't ashamed of a goddamn thing, man. Okay, but there's a disquieting of good men. If you a Jake that's not even on that, that wicked shit, you're ridiculed, you're made mockery of. If you're a woman and you're not on that, that ratchet, adulteress, okay, you're ridiculed, you're mocked. Okay, any form or any type of righteousness, Jake mocked that shit, man. Jake will mock it, man. Make mockery of it. Okay, but they glorify death, man. All right, and the Lord finna give these niggas death on a whole nother level. Okay, so real quick too, I just want to show this, and then we'll segue. Damn, that's a spirit. Yeah, the brother say he grew up, in Portsmouth, in Virginia. Damn, so that was the spirit. As soon as we went into that, the brother tapped in. Well, you see what them niggas is still on. You see, one thing about it, a nigga never disappoint in being a nigga, man. So I know you already know. You see, so let's go here. Let me see. So this is the victims of Leland. All right, let me see. Let me see if I can go back. Let's see. I'm trying to play it again. All right, and you seen it was 3. All right, 3 young niggas. All right, and 3 young Eves. All right, that got killed in Leland. Okay, and you can just look at them niggas and tell what they was on, and you can look at Eve and tell what they was on. All right, the Lord finna eradicate that whole culture out the earth, man. That nigga shit. Okay, and niggas are doing everything they can to deserve. All right, the judgment that's written. All right, so now let's go from there. Let's get this. So now I want to just touch on ICE and the dynamic, that's happening with ICE and the National Guard, and, because it's finna be civil war on every level, man. We finna see, it's finna be crazy out here, pandemonium. Okay, it's gonna be this group against that group, and in this city, this going on, in this state, this going on, in this neighborhood, and the scriptures speak about these things. Okay, so now they got little footage of what ICE been doing. Now some of this could be staged, all to provoke emotions of the people to rise up, because Esau wants people to come up against, all right, these troops, man. Okay, so they can justify him bringing more troops. Okay, so some of these things could be authentic, some of these things could be staged, to arouse the emotions and, to create this narrative that, ICE, just being this tyrannical, federal unit, it's a lot at play. But ultimately, the devil is always playing on the minds of the people, all right, to stir up emotions to get the results that he wants. All right, so let's play this.
ICE says its agents use a, quote, minimum amount of force when making arrests. But every day, new videos pop up online which seem to indicate something else. Personally, my social media feed now is just a stream of brutal ICE interactions. Agents caught on video being both verbally and physically aggressive with the people they're detaining and with bystanders, all while many of them hide behind masks and plain clothes. These tactics appear brutal in nature, alarmingly so, and the presence of a rolling camera doesn't actually seem to deter any of it. Many of the videos are difficult to watch, but we do feel that it's important for all of us together to bear witness to what's happening to human beings on the streets of America. On Wednesday, this video was taken outside of an elementary school in Chicago. It shows a group of masked ICE officers trying to pull a woman out of her car. Eyewitnesses say the woman was in line for afternoon school pickup at the time of the incident.
Wait, you guys came to the school and to do this? They have a warrant. They haven't asked for a warrant. My name is Jocelyn from Cicero. They don't have a warrant. They didn't ask for one. They forcefully opened the door of the truck. It was locked. It was locked.
You're going to record this. Don't get it closer from me, all right? Like, cool? You stay back, please. You're being arrested.
Yeah, but you guys came to the school? They forced us out of the car. They forced us out of the car. They were following us.
Last week, agents in that white SUV were filmed in broad daylight throwing a canister of tear gas onto a pedestrian street near a middle school. You can see cars were seemingly blocking the unmarked vehicle, which was reportedly headed for a local grocery store. A masked agent rolled down his window and threw the tear gas, causing bystanders to disperse. In Maryland, 2 ICE officers chased a man into a busy intersection and then tackled him. You can hear the man screaming, "Ayuda, help me," during the struggle. And an agent dropped his handgun and then appears to point it at bystanders.
Ayuda! Hey, look, Ayuda! Ayuda! Right there! Ayúdame! They're trying to kill you! Ayúdame! Ayúdame! That's not a people! Where's my Why you trying to kill me? Ayuda American! Ayuda American!
Put the gun down.
And you can tell with these ICE agents, especially this nigga here. All right, like this nigga just started this morning. But there's a lot of, Edomites fresh off the couch, and they're just coming, all right, and signing up. you know, and it's gonna come a time, all right, where don't be surprised with local law enforcement or even National Guard, which I'm gonna show you the video after this, you know, can be going there with ICE, man. Okay, it's a lot of ways that this can go. Okay, so they're just showing them, you know, arresting, okay, these you know, citizens or possible immigrants. You know, the first lady, she was in the pickup line to pick up I guess a child from school, and they just pulled her out of the car. You know, so I'm like, is this, you know, just propaganda? You know, are these things scripted? You know, to cause, you know, uproars of the people? Okay, or they just, you know, they're randomly doing these things. But at the end of the day, all right, we're gonna go to the next video. We're gonna show you that, you know, there's a different response from ICE. All right, that different states are responding differently to ICE presence. Okay, and don't be surprised whether it's an authentic, all right, revolt, okay, or something staged that causes an authentic revolt against, you know, ICE. Okay, so let's let it play a little more.
Put the gun down.
Why are you shooting at me?
Put the gun down.
Why are you trying to shoot at me?
The Department of Homeland Security says the man being arrested in the video was resisting. On Friday in Chicago, a journalist by the name of Debbie Brockman was forced to the ground and cuffed by 3 big federal agents while she was out reporting. Watch this.
What's your name?
Debbie Brockman, I work for WGN. Let them know.
I got you. Yep. Debbie Browning?
Brockman,
WGN. You guys want to share your names too, or I'm just going to cover your face?
DHS says.
Yeah, so that's supposedly they arrested a reporter. You know, so you have this footage. So now you're getting particular response. All right. So now this is a guy that's supposed to be of hold on. All right, now this is from Dabu. Now this is supposed to be a brigadier general, you know, within the military. And this is what he says that the National Guards are going to be used for, okay, in Portland. You know, what they're using Portland, you know, as Portland is on the main stage, you know, for, you know, rebellion against, okay, these federal orders that's coming from the White House. Okay. So now, you know, you have talks of Antifa, okay, which Antifa can be nothing but agent provocateurs, you know, used, you know, to stir up unrest, okay, and to spark, all right, civil war against, you know, American citizens, man, between American citizens and federal personnel and different law enforcement versus different law enforcement, you know, state versus, you know, local versus the federal, you know, just all different ways, man. Okay, so let's play this now. Remember, he's in the American military. Okay, so this is what he says the Portland National Guard is going to be used for.
Your question, I don't want to speculate on what level of training they will be trained in or what they will be authorized to perform as far as rules for the use of force. The Title 10 headquarters will provide that training to them. It is my understanding, however, that protective crowd control will be one of the things they're trained upon. And I will provide my advice to the Title 10 commander that Oregon National Guard men and women they serve 2 purposes: 1, to defend America, and 2, to protect Oregonians. And so by serving in this mission, they will be protecting any protesters at the ICE facility. That's my desire. Now, to answer your question, full force is not a doctrinal term that the Army uses. So I'm not sure exactly what that means, and I don't want to speculate as to what level of force they will be allowed to use.
And you heard him correctly. The Brigadier General Grunwald they're saying that they will be protecting the protesters when it comes to the National Guard. This goes right back to what I warned you about civil war, front and center. So who would they be protecting the protesters against? It will be against ICE. Okay, the same ICE that in other cities are working alongside the National Guard doing things. So up here in Oregon, they're going to be utilized in a different manner. Now, you could say this is because the state is making the move to use the National Guard versus Trump. If Trump tried to use them first, then they could like flip the script. That's why I keep telling you this is going to come down to pure civil war on the ground, where they're going to have federalized ICE troops squaring off against National Guard in settings like this in Portland. On top of it, as you can see here on the left, they've put out a post, Antifa in Portland, saying you're invited. Laser tag. They're calling for mass laser attacks on helicopters over Portland's ICE facility today, right now, into tonight. So this is potentially going to lead to some chaotic madness, more chaos in the streets, and who knows what's going to pop off from here. But I just want to make it clear. They're stating they're going to start targeting aircraft with lasers here, and the National Guard on the ground is going to be used to keep the protesters, or Antifa, if you will, protected. Okay? So how's this going to shake out? This is the latest. Join me for the live streams going live Monday, Wednesday.
Yeah, man. So we're gonna keep following these things and see, how it play out. Because when you go into the National Guard, all right, let's go here real quick. When you go into the National Guard, all right, each state, has their own, all right, units. Okay, dealing with National Guard. It says, yes, every U.S. state has its own National Guard, along with the District of Columbia, Guam, Puerto Rico, and U.S. Virgin Islands. It said these are separate state-level units, each with its own Army and Air National Guard components, totaling 110 units across all 50 states and territories. The exact number of personnel varies by state, but there are approximately 430,000 members, okay, in total across the Army, all right, and Air Force, all right, National Guard, so there's about 4,300, give or take, within each state, and now there's talks about National Guard being used to protect Antifa, okay, protests, okay, which ICE, has been clashing with Antifa. You see, so how is that going to work? Okay, so we'll see, man. We know this devil, he wants unrest. Okay, this what this devil wants, because it justify him using more force. Okay, so you got that looming. It's something we'll watch. But let me get a couple precepts, before we close out, because man, let's just get this in the book of Second Ezra. All right, this is the book of Second Ezra chapter 13. Okay, because we were warned about these scenarios, and this is what we see brewing, and unfolding right before us. Each week, things keep escalating. Second Ezra 13 and 31, it says, and one shall undertake to fight against another, one city against another, one place against another, one people against another, and one realm against another. Okay, so this is Yahweh Shai. All right, the atmosphere. All right, that's going to be in the earth before the return of Yahweh Shai. On every level, there's going to be divisions on top of divisions. Okay, people are going to be choosing a side, and what they believe in is right. Okay, or just paid swords. They say back in the day, paid swords. All right, people for hire, soldiers that's going to be loyal to, all right, the payout. All right, some people are going to be loyal to what they believe America is. All right, people are just gonna be trying to protect their families. Certain communities gonna, you know, form, militias, and you see, so it's gonna be going down on every level. Red state versus blue states. Okay, and then you're gonna have the third world's war. Okay, nation against nation. You see, leading up to what Yahweh Shah coming. Okay, and putting down all right, rebellion, because it's all a rebellion, man. Okay, and the Lord's finna make the rebellion fight against itself. Okay, before He comes, all right, and obliterates everything. Okay, so that's the point. Just wanted to touch on that. Lord will, you brothers, all right, and you sisters edified once again. Give all praise and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Kakwadash, and double honors unto the apostles and the elders of GMS who rule well, teach well, being great example towards younger brothers, and peace and blessings salutations to the whole flex. Shalom.